Hi guys. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate your willingness to talk to me about autism. Right now I am sitting with some friends on the Eastern Shore, and I have a couple special friends, a couple young friends who have been very gracious and interested in learning more about autism and Colin's journey. Right now with me I have Peyton and Max. They agreed to join us and just answer a couple questions. And I really appreciate this because I think a young person's perspective is really important, and these are really special kids, and I think that every family can learn, not even every autism family, I think society in general can learn a lot from our discussion. Who wants to go first? Max?
I'll go first.
Okay. How are you, Max?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Max. He is a new father of 3 hermit crabs.
Yay. I'm very
And
excited.
he has taught us so much over the last couple days about how to care for a hermit crab. And do you want to tell the people who listen to my podcast about your YouTube? So maybe if they're interested, some of the young adults can follow you.
Okay. So my YouTube channel, I do a lot of random stuff. Like I do gaming, I've done a couple of vlogs, and I also do shorts a lot. I really appreciate it if you went over there. It's called Mozilla Plays, Mazilla Plays with an S and no space.
And I will also put that in the show notes for you, Max, okay?
Okay.
Max does a lot of fun things, so definitely go over there and subscribe and follow his videos. So I know that you've been following Maryland Autism Project YouTube page, and I know that you've been looking at Colin's videos. Mm-hmm. And I was just curious, have you learned anything by following the page or watching the videos?
Yeah, I've learned that people should all be treated the same, and they should be treated equally, and that some people are special, but that's completely okay.
And did you say that you knew someone with autism?
I do. He was in my old class, and then he moved, but I still have his phone number.
That's great. So you're going to keep in touch?
Yeah, maybe. I will definitely talk to him maybe tomorrow or something.
And can you maybe explain a little about how autism affected your friend, or how it does, I should say?
So he has strong emotions. He laughed a lot. He laughed pretty hard. And
like, do you mean during class?
Like, if there's something funny, he would laugh like extra hard on it, extra hard at it. And he talked a little funny, but he was so nice and one of my best friends.
Oh, that's so sweet. I mean, humans are humans, right?
Yeah.
We all have different things, and whether it's a diagnosis or I don't have that diagnosis, but I'm weird and quirky and goofy. I think we all have stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's just awesome to be friends with all kinds of different people.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
I just want to say that you should treat everyone equally. Start at the same level of respect for everyone.
That's sweet. Thank you, Max. And Peyton, are you next?
Hi, I am next.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking with us today.
Yeah.
And thank you for following the Maryland Autism Project on YouTube.
Of course.
And my sweet friend Peyton here, she is some of the inspiration behind some of the songs that I use in my videos. She's helped me with that. A lot of them are Colin's favorite songs, but mixed in there are other songs that she loves and that I don't necessarily know because there's an age difference. And I tend to listen to things on repeat and boring podcasts. Anyway, so what have you learned by following Colin's videos on YouTube?
Well, I've been watching Colin's videos for a while now, and I think that what I've really learned is that everybody learns in a different way, whether it's like visual learners or physical learners. Everybody has like a different way of learning. And I think it's really important that we know that some people don't learn the same way as us, and that's okay.
Right. There's lots of different diagnoses. It's not just autism. The brain in general, like, I think they said we know like maybe 10% about the brain. Would that be right, Claude?
I think so.
We're just scratching the surface. It's a complex organ, to say the least. So everybody, as you said, learns different. And, you know, sometimes parts of the brain overreact or underreact. And in the case of like Colin and a lot of his peers, they don't have expressive language because that part of their brain is not turned on, for lack of better words. There's a lot of science behind it, and some of it's very unknown because, like I said, we don't know everything yet. But you definitely raised some really important points. So, how old are you?
I'm 13.
You're getting ready to go into high school soon.
Yes, next year.
And more people are being diagnosed with autism, and this is all around the world. It's not just like the state of Maryland, right? Do you know people with autism in your school, or?
There are a couple people. I wouldn't say friends with them, but they're like very well-known people, very friendly.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that people are kind and respectful and patient and understanding?
Because of my age, there are definitely some people, mainly boys, who aren't very kind and respectful to them, but I'd say most people are very nice.
Okay. And then I guess the last question would be, do you have any advice for those boys?
To stop being boys and be nice to all people no matter what.
That's good advice. You're a smart girl. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peyton, do you know what you want to do after you graduate from high school? Like what you want to study in college?
Well, I definitely want to study neurology and grow up to be a neuroscientist, mainly because of mine and my grandmother's diagnosis. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I had ADHD, I have ADHD, so it's really interesting to me to see how mine and my grandmother's brain works.
I love your thought process. You know, Aiden, my oldest son, is getting ready to go off to college, and he's going to study psychology. He's doing a dual major of psychology and sociology, but he's highly curious about how the brain operates. My guess is that he really wants to help his brother in the future, but just in general, he wants to understand better how the brain works and really what makes people do the things they do or
think the way they do.
All of that. It's a fascinating field. Maybe the two of you can have a practice together one day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And you guys are welcome to hang out around the table, and if you want. You don't have to, but you're welcome to. So I have my friends Claudia and Jen with me, and they have been with me from the beginning because we have all grown up together. Jen and I have known each other since middle school, and Claude and I met each other right when I graduated from high school, so just a few years later. They were there from day one of the diagnosis, so I just felt like I wanted to spend some time with some friends talking about this because it's been a very important part of my journey because it's hard. We're talking about hard things here, and you do need a lot of support and love through this life in general, but especially when you have some extenuating circumstances, in this case regressive autism, and not everybody has that support from friends and families, and so I totally realized how fortunate I am. I'm incredibly grateful for the love and support I have. I want to share that with everybody because it may help other people that are listening better identify with our lives, and maybe find some new ways or ideas to support families that are going through this. So thank you guys for being here. So I guess, are we the only family that you guys know living with autism?
I've definitely come across families, but I haven't been as close, just through clients and stuff like that, but never in their lives.
Yeah.
And so it's this is a completely different experience. And I wouldn't have expected to be interviewed on this podcast, but I just want to say that I'm glad you created it, because we don't live close by. I live far away from you, so most of our time spent together is through vacations and stuff like that. So this definitely is, when I listen to it, it gives me a glimpse into what's going on in your life at that time and the struggles you're dealing with, and just helps me understand when I do get a chance to speak to you what exactly you're going through, and just helps for somebody who's not going through it and loves somebody who is, to be able to understand what's happening in their house at that moment. So I appreciate that you created that, and I hope that that does for other people as well.
Yeah, thank you, and I hope so too. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that the reason I started this was because I remember many times just sitting in my car in a parking lot, just crying. And I know a million other people have done that in the past. And my hope that is moving forward, this will help others not have to sit in the car by themselves crying.
Absolutely.
There's a whole community of support, and hopefully we can strengthen that through family, friends, neighbors, whatever it might be, through the podcast in some way.
Right. Or, hi, this is Claudia podcast audience. Or to let people know that sitting in the parking lot crying isn't such a bad thing, and other people are doing it, and you're not in isolation alone.
Yeah.
And it's not so bad to go sit in a parking lot and just be alone for a second with your emotions.
That's a really
feelings.
that's a really valid point. I think in many cases, the people sitting crying are just overwhelmed, don't know who to talk to, don't know what solutions there might be. They're sleep deprived. It's like all these things, but it can translate to so many different avenues in life, right? Mm-hmm. And that it is okay to sit in the car and cry and have that moment and breathe and release and all of that. But we don't want you sitting in the car crying every single day by yourself.
Right. Time
Absolutely.
it. And you're not isolated. And you have other people that are going through the same thing and you can talk to.
Yeah.
Right.
And do you know anybody else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've just been thinking about that, and I really don't think so. But I know you guys so well, and I do live close. So
yeah,
I get to see you guys all the time and go out with Colin on the regular, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. He's
a pretty cool cat. I'm ready to ask him some questions on his speller.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot that's transpired over the years for sure, but Colin is in a really great spot right now. He just had his 17th birthday, which is hard to believe. And he is about a year and a half into his Spell to Communicate program. And I think by now most people understand what that program is all about. There was a documentary that came out recently called Spellers, and it followed a group of 6 or 7 kids through part of their spelling journey. We consider these kids sort of the kids that are spearheading this generation of spellers, because it has been around for a long time, but just not quite in this capacity. But what we're trying to do, because there are so many people with progressive autism who are non-speakers. I want to be careful. It's nonverbal's one thing. Non-speaking just means you have all the receptive language, you understand everything, but you don't have the ability to speak. You don't have the expressive language because there's a little part in your brain that is just not working the way it should. And the intelligence, the cognitive part of your brain is in a different space. So it doesn't affect cognitive, it only affects the expressive language piece. That's the very short version. But because they did this wonderful documentary, so many people are learning about this program, and it's giving the millions of countless spellers in the world who have an autism diagnosis. And not just autism, Down syndrome, there's so many, CP, there's so many diagnoses that it could help with non-speaking.
It's an amazing documentary.
Yeah, it is.
It is very, very inspirational and wonderful to watch.
Yeah, and it's like changing people's lives, not just like the people who are non-speakers, but their families, their friends, their community, their teachers, their therapists. Like, it's just like changing I don't know one person who has been the same after watching it. It changes everything in your mind that you thought you understood. Yeah. Or maybe that you didn't understand at all. Maybe you didn't have any understanding or expectations. You watch this thing and you're like, oh my God, it's like your mind's blown.
Right. I'm kind of like, how did we not think of this before?
Right.
Right.
And you're opening a whole new window into learning so much about a person that you've lived with your whole life.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You learn everything that they're thinking and be able to finally convey to the world, and they finally can. And to finally display their intellectual ability that they were never given credit for, to probably be taken seriously on a whole nother level. And have a future that never could be imagined because
and an
they didn't have the
age-appropriate
ability.
level.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Because we're on vacation, I don't have any of my notes in front of me, but I can't even begin to tell you the level at which Colin is not only spelling and answering comprehension questions, but he's also working on, it's kind of like, they refer to it as being open as a speller, meaning being openly communicative, conversational. He's like right there on the cusp. So he's sort of like pre-conversational. And as you said, Jen, he's starting to give me information that I never had. I can't tell you what it's like for all these years have to say, I know you're in pain. I know you're in discomfort. Tell me what hurts. And he has an iPad. He has this language program. But there's something that he's at a crossroads with it. And I don't know why. I can't explain it yet. But when it goes to body parts, he can't seem to figure out the motor plan. I don't know what's happening. I think we'll figure it out, but I don't know what's happening. But he can't say, my head hurts, my stomach hurts on that iPad. But what he did say after a hard day at school a few weeks ago, when we went to the letterboard that evening, I said, how are you feeling today? And he said, mad. He spelled mad, to clarify that. He spelled mad. And I said, why were you mad? And he spelled sensory room. So he was just trying to say he really needed that break. Sensory room is an overall break from all the demands, right? Kind of like just laying on the sofa for someone. Just leave me alone, everybody. That's sensory room at the school. And then I was like, is there anything else you want to tell me? And it was very open-ended. And he spelled, I am glad my little intestines feel better.
It's so insane.
Amazing.
So not
amazing.
And you're like, me too, bud.
Yes. So there's something there, like he couldn't put stomach hurt on the iPad, but on the letterboard he was able to specifically target the small intestine.
Right. I forget we even have that.
Right. That, that's where
so much more advanced than we would ever speak.
Right. And maybe that's why he doesn't want to talk on the iPad, because it's so elementary that he's just like, oh, it's frustrating, and I don't want to point at a cartoon of a head, because that's not really what's wrong with me. My head hurts, this hurts, that hurts, and whatever. I don't want to talk on an iPad. Yeah. But I will spell to you, and I'll spell gigantic words that you barely even know how to spell.
Right.
It's
It's gotta
amazing.
I know how incredibly frustrating it is. I witness day in and day out how incredibly frustrating it is for Colin. He has told me through spelling that he is angry that he cannot talk. Who wouldn't be? Right?
Yep.
So, but we're getting there. And it gives this kid so much optimism and hope now that I know and understand completely.
It's probably a relief. It's at least one thing off of his shoulder that he's like, I can at least in some way get out that I'm in here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lot. It's heavy because I do want to kind of like pull back, and so many of these podcasts do center around what the kid or person who is diagnosed with autism is going through and how to support them and their family. But for this, I'd like to just really zone in on Colin and his peers, and just imagine day in and day out, 17 freaking years of this.
Right.
And I always say the sort of analogy is like, just put a piece of Gorilla Tape over your mouth and just go amongst your day and see how far and long you can go without communicating. Because the other thing is, I also want to be clear that he also doesn't write well, and there's two reasons. One is fine motor skills, but the second reason is he grew up with an iPad to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we're still not working on it.
Right.
Fine motor skills is being targeted through this program, because eventually the goal is you go from like a stencil to just a flat laminate letterboard where you can just point. So this is fine motor, right? This is gross motor, though, coming from the shoulder. But the finger is fine motor, the isolated finger. And then eventually a keyboard. So then he can actually spell out on the keyboard, even if it's just his two index fingers. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to learn professional typing or anything. But just to be able to spell out on a keyboard and press enter, and then the computer will speak for him what he is explaining or trying to, articulate to everybody. So
I can't even imagine for him, like, what an unload, like when he could finally even say those short words to you or whatever, those simple thoughts, that it has to be like such a release for him after all these years, that I don't know if you can even see that or not, but I can't even imagine on the inside how great that must feel.
Little bit, you can just feel a calmness.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, keep in mind, he has other co-occurring conditions. He has epilepsy. He has other infections that cause discomfort. This is not uncommon for progressive autism for an array of reasons. We won't get into any of that today, because that's another whole thing.
That's another whole 12.
12 hours of discussion. But think of, levels of, being in pain or discomfort, or, GI issues are very common with our kids. And you can imagine most kids. I personally don't know of any kid, and I know a ton of kids with this diagnosis.
Sure.
I know a ton of families in general across the U.S. who, have a kid with a diagnosis. I don't know one of them who does not have anxiety. You can easily understand that,
Absolutely.
Right? But what I have seen, Claude, to answer your question, is yes, he's way more calm and together.
Relaxed in his skin.
Yes.
Right.
There were absolutely periods of time over the years where he was clearly ready to jump out of his skin. There's no way to better describe it. You just can't tolerate any of it. It's all so much. So yeah, this part has been incredibly helpful. I did ask if I could host an event at his school, for staff and other parents, just showing the documentary. I mean, the documentary is only $10 to watch, so it's not like it's a big deal, but it would bring together practitioners and parents just to see the information, have discussions. It could open up doors. And unfortunately, I was respectfully declined, and I understand the reservations, although it has to change. And you guys,
trust me, you'll be the one to make that change.
I was gonna say
reservations.
You won't let that go.
No, you know me. I will absolutely.
You're the ultimate advocate.
Spearhead this until it is changed. But reservation, the group is called ASHA. It's the American Speech Hearing Association. I think that's what it stands for. Have not endorsed it because there's not enough science behind it. And this is like many other avenues I'm so used to this argument. I've lived it this entire 17, 18 years because I do all kinds of things that might be considered alternative, right? They eventually become mainstream, but they start out as alternative. This will eventually become mainstream.
Of course, it's spelling.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how
it should be very fast.
Right.
Right.
The medical marijuana was and more alternative. Well, now it's completely legal. So
I can understand medical marijuana. I can understand energy helping. I can understand all of this other stuff being a little bit out of the box. Spelling letters
should be pretty simple.
I'm almost ashamed we didn't think of it a long time ago.
Right.
Because everybody spells to communicate.
And correct. And the whole thing is they say there's not enough science to show that the individuals individually spelling and that the parent or the practitioner isn't guiding them. And all I'm going to say to that is the spellers will prove to that association.
Right.
Absolutely.
Throw some money at the research and then you'll get your science. That's what needs to happen. And they probably haven't done that. And
Correct.
That's what needs to happen. You can't say there's not enough science and then not fund the research.
That's correct.
So that's where the change needs to happen.
And I'm glad you said it, Claude, because I have these conversations all the time, and it's like, well, who's going to fund it? Where's the money? That's why there's also not enough research on the MTHFR gene mutation. I haven't even actually done podcasts on that, but they know enough to know that that particular gene means that your body does not properly detox. They know enough to say you have to be careful when you're going under anesthesia and not to use nitrous oxide and use some alternative stuff. You talk with your anesthesiologist. But they don't know much more than that. And the reason is because no one's interested in doing the research because it's not really sexy. Like, whatever. MTHFR gene, think of the profile of someone who is a geneticist. Think of that mindset. You gotta love that. I don't know if you've ever talked with geneticists or met with a geneticist for any reason at all, but you have to love that to get in that field. Holy shit. Anyway,
it's like there's this little hole on this chromosome.
Right.
Oh my God.
So it's not a sexy research topic, and there's no money because there's no incentive because nobody really cares or wants to do the research. So it goes back to the point of the money has to come from somewhere if you want the answers, if you want the research to be done. Once again, getting back to that very basis of the very definition of science is that it's always evolving. So if you want science to evolve, you need the freaking money. I mean, I just don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
It's either somebody's going to say, hey, here's the money and, whatever, do a double-blind study on kids who don't spell and kids who do spell for 2 years, and let's see what happens at the end of 2 years. You know what I mean? Or by the process of evolution, organically, it's just going to happen. And all these spellers are going to be like, are you freaking kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you what, Professor whoever, you should be ashamed of yourself. And this is, you know what I mean? They are going to set the record straight.
Right. I feel like the study could be very simple. You just get somebody to stand there and hold the board that doesn't know anything about anything about the kid, like a total stranger, to hold the board. And then the teacher or the parent needs to be there to ask the questions or whatever. But then the person and write down what the letters are that the kid is spelling. That's the test. So but who's going to fund that? Because where are you going to make money off of that? Well, I mean, you can make money off of the spell boards, but I can't.
Right, you're not going to be selling pharmaceuticals off of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's why it's not getting funded.
You're going to be selling.
And you know what, Jen? That's
boards. Right.
That's a really valid point, because a lot of what I have seen happen over the years, and I think a lot of parents out there would agree with me, is really intense behaviors because of everything we just described. Like, what would you do if you couldn't communicate? Like, would you maybe not kick a wall?
Of course.
Or punch somebody?
You would have some of the worst days. You would be aggressive.
Yeah.
Depressed. I mean, I can't even imagine how that comes out each day.
And I'm not saying this is a fix-all for every kid out there, right? Because
it's a huge weight lifted.
Yes. I just want to kind of like go back one step and say that I've known about this therapy for about 7 years, and it's kind of, there's the very basis of it has existed for actually well over 40 years, might even be 50 years. I know a 55-year-old man who has used letterboards for the last 40 years to communicate. He lives in Israel with his 75-year-old father, and they're huge advocates. But it's sort of like evolved over the years with people who like found this little niche and found this interesting to help people. A lot of them are speech therapists that take an interest in it. But this program, really, anyone can learn it. You know, occupational therapist, physical therapist, a nurse, a doctor. I can become certified as a practitioner eventually. And who knows, maybe I will. But right now, Colin's my top priority. We'll talk about that later. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'll see what happens in the future. I would love to help a million other people, a million other kids, absolutely. But I have to just stay focused on Kyle. So it kind of like evolved over time. It at one point was called like rapid prompting method. And then there was like some tweaks in the program, and then spell to communicate evolved. And then there was a little bit, there was some tweaks in the program, and now Spellers actually has their own curriculum. It's not, they're all like the same thing, but just like some nuanced things, right? And at the end of the day, who cares? As long as it's helping people. Yep. And if you knew that something was, again, you always have to evaluate the risk to benefit ratio on every decision. This isn't a very high risk situation. Mm-hmm. So if you knew like it could help my kid, of course you're going to try it. Yes. Yeah, I just don't get it.
I mean, and I've known you for 30 years, and I don't think you would prompt him to talk about his little intestine. I've never heard you say the words little intestine.
Right.
So I don't think that you like guided the board. Right. I mean, it should be a very simple.
I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned.
I'm like, who thinks of the little intestine? And he knows that.
In fact, because like when they spell, you say the letters out loud, as you saw in the documentary, because you want to make sure you're capturing everything that they're spelling. So you say it out loud, almost, it's like a confirmation, like, okay, how you say okay when you're listening, or It's like that, right? And I almost was like second guessing what he was spelling in my brain, and I just couldn't believe it.
I bet. Yeah. It is crazy amazing.
Absolutely. So, in any case, the reason I didn't move forward as quickly as I could have, since I have known about the program for the last 7 years, is because Colin wasn't in the right place. He went through a lot with the onset of puberty, with epilepsy surfacing, freaking hormones off the chart, so many things. Behavior spike. There was a lot going on. He wasn't in the place to receive this type of learning. But now he is, and he's doing amazing, and he's moving along. I don't know. I guess, we spent a lot of time on this subject, and it's a really important subject, and I hope people get out of it what I have witnessed and what we've gotten out of it just as, friends, just from learning about it. I hope more people get that.
And I think they'll take it to other communities other than not just the autism community, other nonverbal people who can, benefit from what you're talking about.
Yeah, go watch Spellers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so good.
So, I just kind of want to shift back into the support topic because you guys have been so supportive. And part of being supportive is just asking questions and wanting to be a part of our lives, no matter how bad it got. I just really want to acknowledge that because I've had friends that just sort of drifted off. And I don't want to say it was because, I don't want to say entirely 100% certainty it was because the situation was so complicated and so intense for so long. Everybody has their own lives and everybody gets busy, whether it be work or they're raising children or whatever. They have things, taking care of older parents, everybody has different things, and I never want to discredit that. But, I'm a very self-reflective person, and I really know who the people were that were there through thick and thin, and acknowledge that. And I know the people that faded, and a lot of them sadly are family members, and it's a very hurtful experience, and I continue to work through that. It is grief, it is sorrow, it is isolation, it's all of that, because it goes beyond just hurting my feelings and excluding, it's knowing with 100% certainty, because of the journey that we've gone through and the spelling piece, that Colin knows all the things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he knows all the things that were said that people doubted he understood.
Right.
He knows all the things he's been excluded from and not invited to.
Right.
He knows all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what breaks my heart, and that's what makes it so hard to get through the hurt, the anger, the emotional baggage of exclusion, whether it be in a social capacity, not being invited to certain birthdays or events, or, family things. There's no answer. It's just what it is. But I just think it's a very important topic because, so many people are in this situation.
Yes. No, it's sad that you've had to experience that. You've had a mixture of really awesome support from your own family. It's unbelievable and unwavering. And then you've had other family members that just, I guess, for whatever reason, didn't know how to handle it. And that's sad. I'm sorry that you had to experience that.
Thank you. I am too. And it is sad, and I keep trying to make my peace with it. And it's like I take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, depending on the day. And
well, because you're a human being, and when something monumental like an exclusion or something really, really hurtful like that, a resentment is built, and it's not really your fault. It just is.
And it's your child, and nothing is more personal than your child.
Yeah.
Right. And that's going to build a resentment.
When things happen to you, you can let it roll, you can get past it. Mm-hmm. But when people do something to your child, it's a totally different experience. and it's much worse and much harder to get past. And you know what? You don't have to.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't have to. You just, got to put that in that area over there and just know that you can't change that.
Yeah.
But you're always going to do what's best for your boys, and you'll always be so protective of them. So you're not going to expose them to the people that aren't going to treat them properly.
That's
and
right.
had he been invited to those occasions, maybe things wouldn't have been so great either. Had he been there, maybe he wouldn't have been treated properly, and he would have known that as well.
Yeah.
So,
It could have been even more.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Detrimental.
If they're not equipped to even extend the invite, then they're certainly not equipped
Yeah.
to deal with him one-on-one, to be able to make him feel good and accepted the way he should be by family.
Yeah. All valid. And I also just want to say that stop talking to our kids, our adults with autism, like they're babies.
Yeah.
They are human, right, Max?
Yeah.
Max
Yeah.
knows.
Talk to him like you're equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if
Because they're
if
probably
someone-
smarter than you.
If someone with autism is 17 years old, let's just say, and you're also 17 years old, you are physically the same age. So why should you not be treated the same?
That's right.
Exactly,
right.
Max.
Thank you for saying that.
Max is smart.
We have to continue to, work on this
Inclusion.
inclusion, respect. It starts with kindness, but respect and inclusion and just presuming competence. Don't presume disability
Mm-hmm.
because you don't understand really what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and
And I'm not convinced babies even like to be talked to like babies.
right,
At the end of the
right.
day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I do. I just want to, I think that's about it. I just wanted to talk through some things, and I appreciate you guys sitting with me and talking through, and I hope this is helpful for our community. And obviously, family goes well beyond blood, and the two of you are an extension of my family. And, I've never, ever felt judged or excluded, or even if you don't know what to say, it's okay. Just be a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you both have always done. Whatever you need, if you just need to unload or vent, that you've always had a place or space for me to do that. And you don't have to pretend to not understand or to understand, because you wouldn't, because it's not your life experience. But you have also injected yourselves into my life to understand, because you weren't afraid. It's like, okay, so he has autism. So let's go on. What can we do to help? And I feel like that's just the way it should be.
Yeah, because everybody's got something.
That's
I have
right.
to say, too, from watching your journey, from knowing you since middle school, and who you were then, we all grow. But what I've seen you overcome and become because of this, I wonder, if you hadn't had these two boys, this is a side we definitely would have never known. Your advocacy, your just the way you just don't give up. It's just tireless what you do. And, maybe there would have been something else that would have brought it out, but I can't imagine to this level. And I know for you it's absolutely exhausting, and you need a lot of coffee at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it just is amazing to me who you become and what you do, including this podcast, including the classes you've taken, all of it is absolutely amazing. You are the most informed. You help people in other communities. You help people in your community. So what you do is absolutely extraordinary. You should be
Thank
very
you.
proud of yourself.
I agree with everything
thank
Jen
you.
says. She says it really well.
And I just want to say that I'm very proud of you
Oh,
and the person you've become today.
That's sweet.
Even though I didn't really know you before.
Because
I
you
think-
just got born too.
Yeah, I'm basically still a baby to you, to all of you. And I know that even though I didn't know you before, I know that you have changed so much and that you're so much stronger now because of this adversity in your life.
Yeah.
It's very
Thank
true.
you, Peyton. Thank you. That was really, really sweet. And yeah, I think that.
And wait, one more thing too. It always amazes me through all of this, even through the worst of it, whenever we would come together and meet, you would still have all this ability to sit down with my kids or me and talk about our stuff and ask questions, and always wanted to know about everyone else as well. So you have a balance where you are able to deal with all your stuff and have the opportunity to maybe talk about it, but you made it a priority to make other people feel special as well. So you've kept your life in very good balance that way.
That's just sort of innate inside of me. Like,
I
that's
think
just
it's part
how.
of your personality, but I'm sure that through all the exhaustion and everything, it would be really easy.
It would be really easy
just
to be
to
like,
not be
I
like
don't
that.
care.
Oh, I don't care, or
ask anyone
let me
anything.
just come and just make this about, you know what I mean? Like, you still
Or
know
let me
how
just
to,
wallow in my misery.
right, and that's not
And
you
that's
at all.
never been
It's
the
always
case.
about what's next.
Right.
What's next, and that's awesome. What a great quality.
Well, thank you. And, I love my people, and that I think just makes me who I am.
Yeah.
And I'll never stop loving my people no matter what. Even the people that I'm not at peace with and that I'm angry with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still have a whole bunch of stuff to work out, trust me. But I don't know.
Hey, why don't we ask you the happy questions instead of you ask us?
That sounds
Oh, okay. Do you know the happy question? All right, Claude, you can start with the questions.
Okay. What would be a book recommendation that you would give to us and your listening public?
Okay, so this is hard because I tend to read like anywhere from 3 to 5 books at one time. And I tend to gravitate towards books that I can like learn from. Surprise, surprise. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to zero in on an author because he's my favorite fictional author that gets me out of my brain, and that would be Wally Lamb. Anything from Wally is awesome. I've loved every single one of his books.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he is good. Where are we going on our dream vacation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have inspired me to start a bucket list. So I have 3 on my bucket list, and they're all dream vacations. So I'm just Italy, Greece, and French Polynesia.
Oh, very nice.
I'll go to all that.
Okay, I want to know who inspires you the most in life.
So without trying to sound too, I don't know, cliche or whatever, but honestly, it's the people out there fighting every day who just don't give up. I always, throughout my day, see some of the most amazing human beings walking this earth fighting some kind of fight that blows my mind. And that gives me perspective and keeps me going. Anywhere from dog rescue to a terminal illness to adversity. So it's not just one person, it's collective.
All right. Very, very good. What do you do for self-care / respite besides go to Ocean City?
And hang out with us.
Right. So I'll start with that. So I'm really so grateful and so fortunate to have such a amazing group of friends that makes sure that twice a year I get a few days away, and I can't even begin to articulate how meaningful that is. I am on one of those getaways right now, and on day-to-day basis though, it would just be meditation and yin yoga, and I haven't made it to a yin class in a while, but I do it on my own, but it still counts. And salt baths, of course.
Of course. You're like my mom. She likes to do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your best advice for parents out there?
Do your research. Doctors and nurses and practitioners are all human beings, and they're doing the best they can with what they know and what their life experience is. But they are not God. They don't know everything about everything, right? So just keep doing your research and decide what works for you. Think outside the box. Get second, sometimes third opinions if necessary. What I mean by if necessary is if you're still unsure, sometimes a third opinion is very helpful. And intuition is real. Listen to that voice inside of you. I think it's your soul, but just listen to it. You know what to do and when to do it.
Okay, Goat. Your final question is, what is your greatest hope for Colin?
My greatest hope for Colin is to continue to heal to the best of his ability and gain independence to the best of his ability and live a happy, beautiful, fulfilled life. So I know that there's a lot of gray in that answer, but I don't want to project.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a beautiful wish.
I have
Yeah, go ahead, Max.
to have like a child. It's pretty hard. But to have that extra amount, like that extra thing added on, that just makes it so much harder. And I'm proud of you for like handling that really good. So my question is, has he tried keyboards yet? Because I feel like he could really express a lot of stuff with that.
Like music, like piano or keyboard?
No, like a real keyboard, like
For a computer.
yeah.
Sorry,
like a
yeah.
computer.
So Colin does work on typing at school, and it is coming along. And he will continue to have access to that and learn that as he progresses through the spelling program as well. That's sort of the end goal. And yeah, I do think he'll be able to like express so much more once he can get to that point. And thank you for your sweet comments. All of you, Max, Peyton, Claudia, and Jen, thank you all so much. I just felt it was so important to just bring my friends together and talk, but also have my little friends. I keep calling them my little friends, but they're an extension of my family. And it's really important for us to hear from our younger humans.
Young humans matter.
And let me tell you, these kids, like, I think their perspective is so beautiful.
Yes, it's clear. It's not tainted by judgment and nonsense.
So thank you all, and I hope that this was helpful for everybody out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.